Alright, so today we're going to be bringing the Mac Pro up to date for macOS Mojave. So it's going to be a less formal video. I don't have my normal camera set up already, but let's jump right in. Alright, so this is my 2009 4.1 Mac Pro that I upgraded the firmware to 5.1 and basically turned this into a budget editing machine. So this thing has a 6-core Xeon at 3 GHz, 3.33 actually, as well as 16 gigs of RAM, bunch of hard drives. So the graphics card that I put in this machine is an R9 380, and I just started having issues with this card. Now what's really strange about this is that I only started experiencing these issues after I updated the computer. So you can see we've got all sorts of graphical distortion going on here. The screen apparently is responsive right now, but it kind of goes in and out. Sometimes it crashes while I'm trying to log in. I haven't successfully logged in with the new upgraded graphics card with the R9 380 plugged in. So we'll see if it logs in right now, but you can see more graphical distortions, the computer's frozen, oh, the screen just flickered. Now, ordinarily, I would think, well, this is pretty emblematic of graphics card failure. That's, literally textbook examples of what happens when you have kernel panics, graphics card failure, that sort of thing. However, in this particular case, I know that that is not true because I have Boot Camp installed on this machine, and the computer runs flawlessly with Boot Camp running. Yeah, so a couple minutes have passed, and we appear to be past the login screen, which is further than I've ever really gotten since I updated this computer, but we still aren't actually in. So this is not something that I really know how to fix, and it also brought up the more important issue, at least in my book, of future support for this machine. With macOS Mojave, these older Mac Pros are still supported, however they do need specific graphics cards. The stock graphics cards on this, the 2009, as well as the 2010 and 12 that have a 5770 in them, are not metal supported, so I don't think they're going to run Mojave on them, at least without a patcher. Now with all that in mind, I went on eBay and I bought this AMD RX 560 because the 560 is definitely going to be supported. This is the same GPU family that Apple uses in the iMacs. They have the Radeon Pro 570, 580. The MacBook Pros also use Radeon Pros, which are basically the same GPU die. They're just slightly different because they have the Radeon Pro instead of the RX. But because these are pretty much the same cards that are used in currently sold Macs, they work out of the box in the Mac Pro, and they will also support metal because the graphics cards are the same, essentially, as the Radeon Pros. Additionally, you can get these used on Amazon for around $100, which is a really good deal, and actually less than the R9 380 that's in there goes for. So the R9 380 was in there because I already had it and I didn't want to go out and buy another card. If I had one that worked just fine, but of course now it is not working just fine, so we're gonna go ahead and put this in the Mac Pro and see how that does. Alright, so we're just gonna go ahead and slap this card in. Apologies for the camera quality here. This is more of an informal video, so I didn't want to pull out all of my camera equipment, but you can see just how easy it is to replace these graphics cards. All you have to do is slide this little notch here, slides over, that'll unbolt whatever is in the PCI ports. Now the R9 380 that I have here, wow, that's really hot considering that I just, turn the computer on and that's it. So that's not great. Anyway, you can see that I actually had to put 2 power adapters for this graphics card because it requires external power. The 560 does not require that. It just runs off of the PCIe slot, so I can remove these and it'll also reduce the power draw of this computer, which is good because the power supplies in these Mac Pros are not that great, and the R9 380 is a pretty power-hungry card, so I'm not too broken up about this being a slightly less powerful card than the 380. The 380 is ever so slightly more powerful, even though it's an older card. It's not a perfect comparison, and the 560 does excel in some areas, but for right now, I just want the convenience and the out-of-the-box support that this thing has. Oh, man. These little brackets are really annoying to take out. Oh, what the heck? Well, whatever. I'm just pulling it out. Oh, it's a big boy. These things take up a lot of space. Also, a lot of heat comes out of that card. This computer does get pretty toasty, and as you can see, especially with 3 normal desktop hard drives, there's not too much space in here, so hopefully the 560 will run a little cooler, uses less power. It's got some benefits to it. Don't need these power cords anymore. Ugh. Now I can finally... Actually, I'm going to just leave that. Okay, so let's grab our new card. And I'm doing this one-handed, which is not ideal. Alright, so new card is in here. As you can see, it takes up a lot less space than the old card. And, you know, honestly, this isn't my favorite design for the heat shroud. It's kind of the MSI standard. There's some 1080s that use this same exact cooler design. And the problem, at least for me, is that look how tall this thing is. I mean, this is a humongous card. It's really long, and it's really tall, which makes it really hard to work with in tight spaces. But, you know, whatever. It does what it does. Anyway, now we're back here. We're just going to lock that in place, and I'll just tighten some of those thumb screws. But yeah, I mean, you can see I really didn't use any tools or fancy equipment to get this done. It really is so easy and effortless to work on these machines. Oh, I wish that you could buy a more modern Mac Pro that has this kind of upgradability. Holy crap, Apple, come on, give us one of these. And we are ready to go. Let's turn this thing on. Hopefully it should just be as easy as that. Put those off to the side, and I'm gonna go get this thing plugged back in. Alright, so now that we have our cables plugged into the monitor, we're gonna go ahead and turn it on. Now, as far as I know, we should not have a boot screen, because most of the time when you use custom graphics cards, even if they're natively supported, you're not gonna get that macOS boot screen, but we'll see what happens. And looks like we are in. I don't see any graphical distortion, so we should be good to go. Logging in, and it logs in absolutely fine, no problem whatsoever. This is why I love these things. It's just so easy. Look at that, Radeon RX 560, 4 gigabytes. It just works. I mean, you don't have to do anything. It's so easy. This is why I love these computers. They're just so great. So I guess we could, let's just run a benchmark, shall we? We'll fire up CSGO, see how it runs. Steam is not optimized yet, I don't care. Alright, so here I am in CSGO. We're running at about 110, 140 FPS. Yeah, we're pretty much pushing the limit here. Now, one of the things that you'll notice is there are some like weird flickering artifacts on the screen. This is something I want to point out because this is not a graphics card issue. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this graphics card. Oh no! Okay, well I died there. But either way, there's nothing wrong with the graphics card. Sometimes, for whatever reason, I'm not entirely sure why, there can be these sort of graphical issues. Usually all you have to do is restart the computer or start it up with the stock GPU, and then switch to this one. But just be aware that there are some wrinkles when you install your own graphics card. It doesn't run flawlessly. However, you know, once I do that, all I have to do is really restart the computer or something along those lines. We are still getting a pretty solid over 100 FPS, pretty much most of the time. So this is definitely very playable. And one of the other things I want to point out is I went into the system information, graphics, and displays and looked at the RX 560, and I looked down here and it has metal supported. So that means that this GPU is confirmed to work in macOS Mojave because that's what the requirement states. So this will run macOS Mojave, which means this 9-year-old Mac Pro is now fully supported in the latest operating system with a $100 graphics card that you'd probably want to do anyway if you just had this computer with the GT120, which is garbage. So that's pretty incredible. I'm very happy about this, and I will keep you guys updated. So, you know, this video was kind of informal, obviously, because I'm not appearing on camera and I'm just filming with my phone. But you guys told me in my welcome back video that you wanted to see more of just like the goings on behind the scenes and what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, and this is an example of that. So I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like down below, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.